Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Through the Lens. This is season 1, episode 6. Really excited to be joining you guys. Sorry for the delay last week. We had some things and some technical things that we had to sort out, but everything is sorted now. So those of you that aren't too sure who I am, those of you that have joined, my name is Steven Siegel, and I'm the presenter, the person that talks a lot and engages with you throughout the show. The idea behind Through the Lens is obviously being able to talk to creatives and creators about their industry. It's not necessarily all about settings and how you created the shot. There is a little bit of that will creep in. However, the show is dedicated to being able to give the brands that are in the industry a voice for you, so you can put a name or face to a brand, as well as seeing they are human and what the thought pattern is behind the brands that are launching things into the market. Some incredible stuff that goes into the market and obviously feeds into us creatives and helps us do our job correctly. Then obviously from a creative point of view, I try and bring you the world's best, most motivational creators that are doing phenomenal things, and giving you a little bit behind the scenes of how they, what their mindset is when they are creating and what they're thinking and how they're thinking, how they actually succeed. I mean, that's what we all want to know. There's very few people that actually crack it and really are a success in the industry. And you'll see that there is a pattern that's emerging through all the creators, through obviously the 5 previous episodes and the guests that I've chatted to. You'll see that there is that one thing that starts sticking out, or there's a couple. There's maybe 5 or 6 things that each creator seems to be pushing and keeps them on the success path. So those of you that are out there, I just want to double check that you can hear me, you can see me. Hey, Marley's on. Thank you so much. Great to have you joining me. Thank you very, very much. We got Emmy, another great creator. On the photo side, I'm well, thank you, Emmy. Thank you so much for asking. It's great to have you on. You're doing phenomenal things. We're definitely going to have you on the show as well. So that's how easy it is to be able to comment. If you would like to ask, we've got Luke Curtis on, marketing manager from Nanlite. He's out in the UK. We obviously got Rick Joaquim. I'm going to have to get his name right. We're going to move on for that. I'm going to get him to pronounce it because I'll get it wrong. Joaquim, I don't know if that's right, but he'll correct me later. If you want to ask any questions, make sure you ask. Get your insights in. This is an opportunity for you to connect with brand heads with regards to your top creators and getting their insights. So make sure you ask questions. Don't just sit there and watch. You can, absolutely. But for me, and the way I am, I'd love to try and pick their brains and see what they have and what's interesting. Drew, great to have you join as well. How you doing? Great. 43 Productions on. Drew, I had a chat with him obviously a couple of weeks ago. Thank you so much. All right, so let's jump into it. Let's get the show on the road. I've enough talking. Let's move on to it. So those of you that are out there, if you want to jump on and follow us on Instagram, it's Through the Lens Show. I'm going to start posting. I'm just backing up some content before I start posting because I don't want to sit there and have big lulls of no content on there. But go and follow us on Instagram. That would be great. Thank you so much. All right, so industry news. So not too much industry news out there as of now. I mean, a lot of the cameras have been launched. You would have seen the X-T4s making some waves in the market. That's a Fuji X-T4. You'll see Canon as well here with regards to their EOS R5 that came out, and R6. I mean, they're going there. There's obviously some talks around that. Then I've got a whole list of things. So just excuse with regards to my line. I've got my computer here and obviously my camera there that's doing the stream. You also saw that some big news. Olympus brand is moving across to new home ground, if I can put it that way. Vanity Fair hires a black photographer to shoot the cover for the first time ever. That's great news, obviously, on the Vanity Fair side of things, but that's not really industry news that I wanted to chat about. I want to chat about the new things that are coming out in the industry. So those of you that are out there that have got some industry news, obviously I contact the brands, but it's good to have you guys giving me some inside information on what's happening out and about. All right, so let's jump on to the next thing, new and review. So new and review, I am harping on with regards to memory. Guys, ladies and gents out there, memory, when I talk about memory, it's your hard drives, what you're using to save and store your information. It is critical that you have the right hard drive and the drives that are efficient. You're going to see, when I chat to Rick, I'm going to chat to him also about that. And I mean, it's important. You're shooting beautiful content. What ends up happening, we save it on cost-effective budget hard drives. It's not about that. So I'm hopping on quite a bit about that. So this week's new and review, something that I've been given. I'm going to quickly lead you into it. So have a look over here at this brand intro. And that is it. You'll see here, I've got it here, this extreme portable SSD from SanDisk. I mean, look how small this thing is. And up to 550 megabytes per second this thing transfers. You can see it is tiny, but super fast. So I'm going to be playing with this. I'm going to be obviously testing it out, seeing how it goes. And I'm going to be posting a review on my YouTube channel with regards to this once I've gone through it. Those of you that I have had some people asking, you mentioned about the new review, when you're going to put up those review videos. I'm busy working through them, editing them, and then I'm putting them out so that I've got a flow of content instead of one here, one there, one intermittently. So this is what we are going to be trying out. Ladies and gents, hard drives are imperative. And those of you that are out there streaming, I mean, every single stream of mine is saved, stored, to be able to make sure that when I want to cut it into little stinger videos, I can access them and they're good quality. The nice thing that I absolutely love with regards to this, and it's just straight out of the box, is that you obviously get a nice adapter, because a lot of the companies are coming out with these USB-C to USB-C, and what ends up happening, you don't have an adapter for it. So this comes with the adapter. That's just off the bat what I noticed with regards to that. SanDisk, you'll see here is the portable SSD. That's the new review that I am busy going to be talking about. All right, so moving on, we don't have, unfortunately, what's it called, an up and coming this week, and the rising star. Unfortunately, I didn't find anyone, and I hadn't got anyone that sent me through their details. Now, those of you that are out there, if you would like to be featured as a rising star or even a creator, make sure that you contact me and get onto the show, because there are brands from all around the world that are connecting here. There's creators from all around the world, and we want to give you an insight and introduction to them. Martini, thank you so much for joining on. Thank you very much. Great work from you as well. All right, let's just keep it going. I'm getting messages from the back here. This is obviously a fun show. We're going to keep it lighthearted and fun. All right, so let's move on to the brand spotlight. So this evening's brand spotlight is all about Nanlite. So those of you that haven't heard about Nanlite, well, you should have heard about Nanlite. It is really making waves on the global front. You'll see they are all over the place. And one of the things that you'll see that's really making waves is their Parvo tube. They've got a brand, a new light called the Forza 60 and the Forza 60B, but it's not for me to be chatting about that. I have got Luke Curtis, which is the marketing manager for Nanlite, all the way from the UK, that's joining me on the show tonight. So ladies and gents, please welcome him onto the show. Hi, how are you doing?
Very well, thanks. How are you?
I am superb. Thank you so much for joining me on the show.
No worries. My absolute pleasure. Thanks for inviting us.
How's it going there over in the UK? How are things going with COVID? And
yeah, it's definitely been a challenging time for us, that's for sure. I think some of the measures have been lifted now, so we're starting to see sort of production come back into play, which is great. Nothing on a large scale, so Pinewoods, places like that are still on hold, but smaller indie producers are starting to sort of continue to produce work, which is good, because that's a market we tap into quite a bit. So yeah, it's making progress, but we are sort of aware of just making sure there's the second spike and stuff. So we're doing our best to kind of foresee what potentially could happen, but things are getting better, definitely.
Oh, that's great to hear. That's great to hear. So tell me, Nanlite, I mean, geez, the company kind of came out of nowhere, but did it really come out of nowhere? Because Nanlite's got a little bit more of a history than just Nanlite, because I'm looking at the website, which I'm going to share now, and you'll see there's another name linked onto it there. Can you tell me a little bit more about Nanlite and, where the company came from and where it's headed?
Of course. So, as a company, our parent company is Nangguang, and we basically are producing LED lights for the last 28 years. So, in the Chinese domestic market, we are one of the most prominent sort of LED manufacturers for the photo video market. And we've had huge success in the Asian market because obviously that's our home territory and it's easier to convert in that space. And we found in the Western markets, we kind of weren't getting the foothold that we needed. So a few years ago, we went for a massive rebranding. So we basically divided the company down into two sub companies, which is Nanlite, which is the company you know now, and also LEDGO or LED Go. And that basically covers us from amateur all the way through to professional, which is Nanlite, and then also from professional all the way up to sort of large scale movie production, which is LEDGO. So making that move has really allowed us to accelerate into the Western market. And the good thing is we already have 28 years heritage, so it's not like we're a brand new company. We have a huge backlog of technologies and patents, and now we're just getting the opportunity to put them in front of people, and people go, oh my god, where's this company come from? But we've got a great heritage already, which is good for us. And it's nice to see that people see that of us, because for those previous 28 years we just didn't have the foothold that we thought we deserved based on the innovations that we were putting in place. And now we're starting to get that recognition, it's a very exciting time for us. And I think even with the global pandemic, we've still been able to launch 3 products that have entered the market really successfully. And yeah, we're kind of in good times considering sort of the global conditions. So that's kind of a backstory of us. There's a lot more detail within that, but hopefully it helps people understand what we're about.
No, absolutely, and it's great to see that kind of heritage. And the company's obviously just not come out of nowhere and making things and where it's going to go from there. So tell me, I mean, you've just launched. I mean, the Forza. I've been working and playing with the Forza 60. It's absolutely phenomenal. And then I've got the Forza 500 that's just super powerful with the Fresnel lens, and then to top it all off, that was like the first row of things that I received that just blew my mind. And then you came out with Forza 60B, and then the Bravo tubes. You need to tell us more about those, man.
Yeah. So traditionally we worked with the older technology diodes. So we worked with traditional LED bulbs. And the problem with that solution is you need more bulbs to produce more light. And with the innovations around LED technology, COB and RGBWW chips started to come into play. So we really wanted to take advantage of being so close to that technology over in China, where a lot of the manufacturing is done. So we produced the Forza range, which is the first official range in the Nanlite family. And initially we had the 60, the 300 and the 500, and they were really well accepted across the globe, and largely because of the build quality and the light quality that comes out of them, which is pretty exciting. So they have taken the world by storm, which is super exciting for us. And from that, we then wanted to refine the solution further. So going beyond that was the bicolor. So the Forza 60B, which is a bicolor solution for the Forza range, which is super exciting. We still have the ability to output a lot of light in terms of lux reading, but also the ability to adjust color variance, which is, it just means what you do in camera means less work behind the camera, which is quite exciting. And then the 200. So we took the feedback from the 300 and the 500, and a lot of the feedback was, that amount of power is always going to create noise, regardless of the company, whether you're Aperture, whether it's your Arri, whatever company you are, when you start working at that wattage, it's going to produce noise. So we then came up with the 200, which is a totally silent solution, which is super exciting for us. So, and then obviously the Pavo tube, which is, is a tube solution. I'm currently lighting myself with 2 now. They're a really interesting product because traditionally light, comes from strobes or big panels. So all of a sudden you change the form factor, and that opens up the creative possibilities, which then in turn puts us in front of a new audience, which is pretty exciting. I think I might have lost audio. Are we still there?
There we go.
Oh, I've got you back now. You paused for me for a little bit.
The color edge, if you can pull it. Can you hear me?
I think you're just coming back in. You stalled for a little bit, and then the audio sort of bleeped out. But I'm getting you in dribs and drabs. So I think we might have lost Stephen in regards to connection. So I'm probably just going to fill in the void whilst he gets reconnected. So yeah, in terms of covering the Forza range, the Forza was officially our first product line for the Nanlite family, and that's been really successful, you know, being a COB, which is a chip on board solution. So it means we can be really powerful, and that's a problem that older LED systems didn't have. So we've been able to sort of surpass that in terms of our power output, which is pretty exciting. We then take some of that technology and filter it down into some of our other lines, such as the mix panel, which gives us the ability to then combine RGB and WW. So that gives us the ability to have a lot of power and also the ability to change colors. I think we might have Stephen back, so my filling may need to come to an end. I've done many of these things. I kind of know, I know the drill now.
Oh my gosh, that is brilliant. Whatever you did, I love it. There's it coming up there. We lost Steve. That's from Rich Photography.
Oh yes, yeah. So we're actually in conversations with Rich and the guys. So we're in the process of trying to move into the South African market. So yeah, work with you guys now, and people like Rick and people like Rich is, yeah, it's going to become more evident in your territory, which is pretty exciting for us. It's an interesting market to move into.
Oh, that's brilliant. Okay. Thank you so much. Welcome to the Luke Curtis, Nanlite, and Steven Siegel show. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much for hanging in there during that. All right. No, perfect. All right. So this is part of the fun. I should lie on the couch now. So what did I miss out? Can you just feed me out?
I think we stalled for a little bit. So I started talking about just, you know, the success of the Forza family, the success of the Forza range, and how we've been able to take that technology and filter it down into other products, which is great for us, you know, and also great for the end users. People want powerful lights that they can take anywhere, and we've now been able to do it. And then the next thing was the tube. So the tubes are just super exciting because you change the form factor of lights, and then you open up the creative possibilities. You know, not many lights can boast about being waterproof or magnetic, and all of a sudden these DPs, these gaffers, their ideas run wild because they're not limited to the traditional restraints that lighting normally has. So yeah, we find ourselves in an interesting position now, which is what we wanted to do, and we're now achieving it. So it's good times.
No, that's brilliant. I've just got it pulled up here on the screen. Luminous colors. It's brilliant. I mean, with the magnetic side of things. So now tell me, the company, what is the future? I mean, you can't give away some of the secrets that's happening. Yeah, I heard that you're looking, obviously engaging in South Africa, trying to build a company. What is the future looking like? Where are you? Are you aiming, or can you give us some insights on what we can expect?
Yeah, of course. I think, you know, for us, the really important thing is we've already been operating for 28 years. So we're not trying to prove to people that we're the newcomers. You know, we already have the technology and a lot of the patents, which are good. What we're trying to do is really get that technology in front of, you know, people that are going to make the most of it. So in terms of our global strategy, we're going to move into new territories, of course, and we're going to look to work with, very credible creatives in those fields and try and get these products in their hands, because we know that's what makes the difference, because the technology is good, because we've been doing it for nearly 3 decades. So now it's a case of just moving those products into those territories, into the right hands, and the rest of it will come naturally. I think our strategy around content is going to change and improve. We help people tell stories, and I think that's what we're going to focus on is really show how these tools help tell a story. And I think that's a really important part for, especially with what's going on in the world. People are going to be hugely challenged as creatives, and we need to show them how these tools can help them greatly enhance their businesses or their creative output, which in turn will maybe bring them more business. So yeah, I think that's what we're going to focus on in the future, and that's probably as much as I can share for the minute, but hopefully that helps you guys.
That's brilliant. I mean, that's brilliant. Thank you so much. It's great just seeing, obviously, and I think those of you that are out there, to be able to connect with, marketing managers, CEOs of companies with regards to, and you can see where we're headed and where the companies are and where the brands are headed is critical for, us creators that are out there that are busy creating. And lighting's everything for us, as we know. I mean, that's what our genre is made up of. Without light and without creative lighting sources and you guys coming up with new things, where are we? So I also see that you've got a Nanlite South Africa Instagram page that you guys have just started up now as well, so we can connect there. What are some of the places that we can connect? Obviously, Nanlite Global is your normal
correct. So
handle.
In terms of where we connect, we're pretty much on all social media platforms. Instagram, like most modern people, is the most prolific. So you'll find our accounts. If you search Nanlite, you'll probably find an account in your relevant territory. So we have Turkey, we have South Africa, we have Global. We also have Nanlite USA. And as we continue to sort of build the brand globally, we are going to create more specific geographical accounts. And I think that just helps us speak in a more local language. We know the audience, from the UK is very different from the audience in South Africa. So it makes sense for us to be able to communicate in each of those localized languages. And I think that, again, just shows how much attention to detail we're trying to take, rather than just this global brand and we communicate to everybody in the same way. We really want to focus location. But Instagram, we're Nanlite Global. YouTube, we're Nanlite Global. Facebook, Nanlite Global. And then obviously for your South African audience, we're, Nanlite South Africa is where you're able to find us. And that's new, and we're starting to build content. And, hopefully we're going to be working with people like yourself and people like Rick to kind of fill that wall up with interesting, exciting content.
No, that's brilliant. Well, Luke, thank you so much for helping me out, for co-hosting the show this evening. I really appreciate it. It's great chatting to you. We have to move on to getting Rick on. So my lack of being on the show, we have to get there. But I really appreciate it. And well done on the amazing products that you guys are launching and the way you're engaging and the way you're obviously giving back to the industry and, working with creatives. So it's great having you, and all the best for the future. And we'll stay in touch for sure for the next show coming up.
Brilliant. Take care.
Thank you so much. All the best. Cheers, bye. All right, ladies and gents, so that there was Luke Curtis, marketing manager of Nanlite, all the way from the UK. Momentarily took a break. I went to go and get something to drink and then had dinner. And no, I'm just joking. I do apologize for that break in connection, but it's the internet and that's just how it is. So obviously next up, we have got our creator, the Content Creator Corner. We are chatting to an award-winning cinematographer. I mean, his work is being shown everywhere, from Netflix to HBO, to One Org, that is obviously Bono's organization, non-profit organization. He's won many awards. He's just absolutely phenomenal. But before I actually bring him on, what I'm going to be doing is I'm just going to show you a little bit of a highlight of some work that he's done. So let's give you a little bit of an example of Rick that's going to be coming on now. Here comes one of his videos.
Where do we go from here? Something came in with the night. Snow came in heavy, my boys and me wandering blind. Yeah. A temporary darted. Now that bridge from Brooklyn to Manhattan heard all our lines. Meant what I said, I want all of this. time. Oh, when I'm gone, at the dune with the dawn, well, that's all I could want. We were young, we were free. Come on now, let it go. We were young, we were free. I was living in the cold, I'm coming home. Perfect line to open with. A heart was never meant for this. Ooh, never over it. We were young, we were free. Yeah, yeah. Oh, when I'm gone, at the dune with the dawn, well, that's all I could want.
Hey, that is phenomenal stuff. Let's welcome on Rick. Rick, how you doing? I just want to quickly unmute you so you can chat. Let's get you on here. Can you hear me? Let's just do this. I got you. Can you unmute it? There we go. Good. Got you.
Can you hear me now? There we go.
Yeah, good. Dude, how are you doing?
Yeah, good. Thanks for having me. I mean, it's weird times, but thanks for having me.
Absolutely love it. Now tell me your surname before we even get into it. How do I say your surname correctly?
Joaquim, like Joaquim Phoenix.
Joaquim, I love it. It sounds awesome. Sorry,
yeah.
This whole time I've been getting it wrong. Anyway, tell me, geez, your work is phenomenal. Absolutely, mind blowing. I love watching it. I mean, I've been checking out a little bit more of your work, obviously, since I came, since I knew I was going to have you on the show. And man, where did this whole passion begin? Where did it start?
Thanks, Steve. Thank you very much for that. I mean, if I look back, I think I've always been drawn to visuals and drawn to films and movies. I watch a lot of TV as a kid. I guess I was like kind of the babysitter sometimes. And then I think I always used to shoot little like videos with my brother. We'd shoot like weird little fun little videos with like little action figures, and we'd try to do some stop motion stuff, and we would just play around. So I think I've always actually had that passion, and I'm quite a nerd, and I love science fiction, and I've loved Star Wars growing up, and all these things I think led me to this point. I just didn't know it.
So how did it go? So I mean, when you approached your parents and you just said to them, "Hey guys, I'm going to go into this industry." Was there any pushback, like most of our, as creators, when you go and say, "Listen, I want to go and do movies and film and whatever it is"? What did they say? Go for it.
Definitely not. So I think if I could be totally honest, my parents are proud of me now. They're like, "Yeah, well done, you've done some cool stuff." But now they're like proud when they see commercials I've shot on air. But when I was younger, my dad was like, "Are you gonna like film weddings? Are you gonna shoot like funerals, like weird stuff?" He's like, "What are you gonna shoot for a living?" And I was like, I think because my parents come from an older generation, so they didn't really understand there is money in all these things. There's a lot of money in events and a lot of money in filmmaking and shooting events and shooting weddings and all that kind of stuff. So I had to push back a lot, and I had to convince him that I think this is the way forward. And obviously, I don't come from a very, very wealthy family, so I couldn't study at the most prestigious places. But yeah, well, I'm proud of what's yeah.
But that's the thing, and that's the way I find a lot of the time that people push harder and become even more successful is that when they don't almost have everything handed to them on a platter, it's about making plans. It's about, I mean, I don't know when I started out, obviously on the photography side of things, and I mean, you can't just go and buy the latest gear and the latest lights and stuff like that. So you make plans with torches and cellophane for gels and.
You're so right. I remember buying lights from like a local warehouse or like a local like the hardware store. I'd buy like gear from there and then try to bounce that into like a wall or into like a muslin cloth and try create like soft lights when I couldn't afford the toys. You couldn't afford the gear in the beginning. So you're preaching to the choir.
I think it's absolutely phenomenal. So tell me, where did it go from there? So I mean, you started out. I mean, I know I've jumped into it. Those of you that have seen the show, I mean, I normally say what you're up to now, but you know, when I look at your work, it's just absolutely, there's so much depth to it. So that's why I jumped in straight away. But where did it go from there? So I mean, as a youngster, then you went to study. Did you study film for a little bit and then start producing, or work from there? Or tell me a little bit more about that.
So I think another part that I didn't touch on is I played in bands a lot of my life as well. So in high school, I started playing drums. I started playing in rock bands, and music actually took me to the right place as well, because we started shooting music videos for the bands I was in. And then I did a year of sound engineering because I didn't know what to do after high school. I was like kind of like that kind of kid where you're like, what am I going to do? Should I do a gap year, go overseas, or do I stay here and try to be productive? So I did a year of sound engineering. I did a year of music. It was really cool. And then while I was there, my lecturer was like, we should do like a music video project. And we ended up doing a really cool thing where I cut a whole bunch of kung fu movies to one of like my favorite bands. And he was like, did you do this or did you steal this? And I was like, no, I really made this. And then he was kind of like, dude, you should go study this. You should go study TV and film. And I was like, can you do that? I didn't actually ever think it was actually a possible career path for me. So I did 3 years at the University of Johannesburg. Yeah, so I did 3 years at University of Johannesburg, and I did my honors there as well. And the UJ, in many ways, amazing institution. I owe so much to my lecturers there, but there are many limitations. The gear you get there, the equipment you have like access to isn't always the best. It's not always the latest, but that also makes you hungry to work harder, to get to better gear, get to like the coolest stuff. You want to eventually work your way up until you're like touching a Red or an Arri or Alexa or whatever. So yeah.
And then from there, I mean, you studied. Do you find it gave you a great basis, obviously, or platform to, more depth of knowledge with regards to the industry you're going in, or was it just there?
No, definitely. I think like so then obviously I graduated, and then the real world hits you. It's like driving. It's like you only really learn how to drive when you get your license. It's the same thing. So I was fortunate to study, and I'm very grateful for that. But you don't know much of the working world. You don't know much of the industry. So I started working, doing lots of corporate videos, started assisting on music videos, started assisting on commercials wherever I could, pretty much loading or focus pulling or whatever I could, pretty much just to get onto set. And I finally got into a few productions, and then eventually you get to a point where you feel confident in yourself and you start shooting your own stuff, and you start like getting hired to shoot stuff. And then I kind of didn't want to look back, and then you finally call yourself a cinematographer, which also takes time. I think it's a I don't know, a confidence thing. And then I haven't looked back since. That was 10 years ago since I graduated. So I've been working for 10 years now, which makes me feel so old.
I got Esley here beside saying Rick is the man. There we go.
Hey Esley, what's up?
Now with regards to it, I mean, so two things I picked up from there. Now, it's obviously the idea behind the show is, bringing phenomenal content creators to the front and showing them, behind the scenes what really helped them make it in the industry and make it in their dream careers. And what I picked up there, that you didn't just go in and you are a cinematographer, you're going to be a director or whatever, and you're going, you started from the ground roots. Whatever job you could pick up, you picked up. And I mean, then you pretty much grew from there, and you just kept on pushing and pushing. What can you remember your first major film that you even if you're a focus puller, well, I mean, what was the first major film that you were in, not necessarily as a cinematographer?
I don't think I can remember. Like, I remember assisting on lots of Nigerian music videos when I was younger. I used to help on so many music videos. You get paid cash in hand at the end of the day. It's amazing. Like, the tax man doesn't know any better. So I'll keep quiet about that. But I remember working on pet food commercials when I was younger as well. I focus pulled on a few food commercials, dog food commercials and cat commercials. And that was difficult. I remember just stressing, thinking, I don't want to mess up because animals are unpredictable. So I look back at those days and now it's just, it's amazing to see the growth. And even the video you played, thanks for playing that showreel. But there's so many jobs that have accumulated over time, and you look back and you forget those, like some of those places that work has taken you to.
No, absolutely. And tell me your first big break. Where would you say your first big break was, and how did it come about?
I don't know if that's even happened yet. I think I'm still waiting for it. No, I don't know. I don't think it's one big break. Yeah, I don't think it's one big break, Steve. I think it's many small breaks. People say this is such a cliche, but it is many small things. It's as a cinematographer, there's a lot of pressure to always like deliver and have a standard. And I think it's a lot of small jobs that add up. And then eventually people like know that when you get the opportunity, you're going to knock it up the park. And I feel that's how I feel for myself. I feel like I have to deliver every time because you're as good as your last job. So I still think I've got lots that I want to do and so much more that I want to achieve in my career. I feel like I'm only getting started. I still consider myself a young cinematographer. So I don't know if I've had my big break yet, but I think I've had lots of small breaks.
Geez, but I mean, you've worked on what's the most epic film that you've worked on that you just went, wow, you actually just took a step back and you went, wow, I'm here on this set shooting.
I don't know if I can think of. I think there's places in the world I've been where I've been shooting like commercials, or I've gotten to go like last year alone. I think it was the year before. I did 9 countries like just for work alone, and I've been to like South America, and it's taken me to like Europe. It's taken me to America. Work has taken me to so many places that I know I'd probably never be there again. So I think that's quite a special moment. I don't think I've ever had normally when I'm on a film set, I'm too stressed to even like take in where I am, because there are times where you're like, wow, that was a beautiful moment, and you're filming an actress or an actor do something really beautiful, and you take a step back and go, this is such an honor to do what we do. But I think the biggest part for me is where the world is, or where work has taken me in the world. I've been so honored by that because I didn't travel much as a kid. I think I only started, like the first time I went overseas was in my 20s, like in my early 20s. And then work started taking me to places.
That's so interesting. Tell me, I mean, when you're out in the industry and you're busy doing your thing, what do you think could you attribute your you're moving from one set to the other? I mean, you're busy shooting today, you're shooting high profile stuff. How do you make sure that you get from one set to the next set, from one job to the next job? What I mean, there's so many people out there that have got great work. But okay, you got amazing work, but there's a lot of people with great work, but they can't, they're not making it. They're going from one set maybe, and then 6 months later to another. What do you think is your key, like insight or advice to keep it going, from one to the next? Do you network, or what's your secret?
I don't know if there's a secret, Steve. It's a great question. I think it's many factors. I think like obviously skill plays a big part in it. I think it's being as good as a cinematographer or creative or whatever as you can be. I think networking is a huge part of it. Relationships are so important. People overlook the relationships. Personality as well. I don't want to work with egos. I don't want to work with people who I don't enjoy being around. I don't want to be with someone who's going to throw their toys up the cot on set and just do some weird stuff. And then I think it's also luck. And I think there's an element of luck to it, sadly, as well. There's just being in the right place at the right time and getting the right job, which will lead you to the next job, who another producer or director hears about you. That's also very much it.
Are you like above and beyond? So you go onto set and like you're the first one there, last one off set. What would you say your personality on set is? Like, what are you the type? I love this, Solani. Here we go. Solani, it says, yeah, your time will come, my light. Just keep skipping.
Beautiful.
Those of you that are not South African, I won't translate that for you.
So, that was a beautiful comment. I think I definitely am. I try to go over and above. I try to go as far as I can. I'll definitely arrive on set early, and I will try to leave later. I always say goodbye to the crew. I always thank everyone after a day of shooting. I think a big part of what people don't realize is there's a whole team supporting us. There's a whole crew behind me that people don't always see. And I've made a habit of also crediting crew on Instagram. On my Instagram, I love Instagram, number one. It's a double-edged sword. It can be good and bad. But I always try to credit my crew. I try to credit people because there's a whole team that supports me. There's a bunch of people behind me pushing a dolly or setting up lights for me or getting there early, art departments, all these things. So
I absolutely love it. So I'm just pulling up your Instagram now since you said you love it so much. It's truly, I mean, I stalk most of the guests and the people, and obviously people that I want to emulate with regards to it. And I noticed you do that. You definitely, credit your team and the people that you're working with. And, I've seen a lot of posts that went out there, but this is absolutely phenomenal. I love your setups. I mean, it's just insane. Sorry, I'm just highlighting something.
No, it's cool. Thank you for those. Because I know, like, I've had weird experiences with other creators before where I've asked, like, who was that crew member on your job, or who did your lighting? And I've had other cinematographers say to me, I don't remember. And I was like, I don't think that's really true. You definitely remember. You just don't want to share your secret source, so you don't want to share the person behind you. And that's rubs me the wrong way. It's kind of like you should share who the crew was. You should want to push them further. So it's just my own little weird agenda, I guess, there.
But I think that's that's the secret with regards to it. I think that's your secret, because I've been to a couple of things, and you'll see everyone's obviously in it for themselves, and it's their glory and their. And I mean, I was talking to Austin Malema last week as well, photographer, and he's talking about crew the whole time. It's all about his team. It's him, well, not his team, but it's the team that he works with. And I'm seeing that coming out as well with regards to great creators, especially on your side of things. I chat to, what's his name, Raj Sharma. He's out in Australia, and he's also talking about teams. So it's great to see that you give that. And I think that I think people really appreciate, because there's, the people that don't always get mentioned. And I mean, for instance, I know I always also with makeup artists and hairstylists, they're traveling from one set to the next. I mean, you never know when you're going to get, talked about, or someone needs some help.
No,
so now tell me,
it's
yeah.
So true. I mean, just talking about Austin. Austin's helped me out with giving me advice on contracts before and stuff as well. So I think it is really also comes down to being a good person. Don't be I don't know if I'm allowed to swear in the show. I was going to swear there, but don't be a terrible person. Be a good human. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, don't be shit. Like, don't be a shit human. Sorry.
There you go. But that's bottom line. That's why it's so nice that we got on YouTube and we can say. So with regards to that as well, I mean, so I think that's where it's actually been. And you were saying that you're first on set, last off, you're complimenting people, you're working through. Are you do you get, like, when you're busy on set, do you get kind of excited when you get a great shot, or something happens and you go, oh, that's just a winner, or do you just keep it in like, okay, that's part of my job?
Yeah, definitely. There's moments where you, like I was saying earlier, like you just know that's so special. It's such an honor to capture that amazing performance, or you just know it's like a spidey sense or your instinct. You kind of just felt that was the take, and then you'll look at the director, and the director will be like, yeah, that was the one. You'll be like, he or she will be like, yes, that's the one. Let's move on. And it's a special feeling when you have that chemistry.
Oh, absolutely. So now tell me, you go on to set. I mean, like, I just want to quickly show another quick video here that I stole here. I think it is The Stranger. Just a quick highlight clip here. So give me a second. I just want to play that. We'll talk about that as well. Give me a sec here. It goes on.
You're English?
I was. Long ago.
Tell me a little bit more about that.
People are loving that. People are really interested in this, and so that was a proof of concept and a short film we made. It's a 20-minute short film I shot in Cape Town, the end of last year or the beginning of this year, and we're turning it possibly into a series or a feature film. So we're looking for funding, and that was directed by John De Vries and then produced by Greg Crick, who also acted.
Oh.
And it's quite a cool thing. It's a history. It's a period piece. It's a piece of history between the Boers and the English when they were fighting, and it's a Western, which I think hasn't been done like that yet.
That's so interesting concept. Now tell me, I mean, when go for it.
I just wanted to give a big shout out to Panavision, because Panavision sponsored all that gear. So I just need to say thank you to them.
That's brilliant. No, you must. That's the thing. This is the show to be able to do that, and it's just we let it out and we just chat. So now, when you're getting involved with these kind of things, because there's two sections that I want to get to. When you're going onto the set, what's the first thing? I mean, obviously, where do you go first? What's the first thing you check? You look at, you make sure everything's right, and like, what's your order of sequence the minute you get onto set?
I try just clear my mind. I try to get onto set and just kind of breathe and try walk through stuff if I can, if there's time. Commercials are quite high paced. See, I do a lot of commercials. I am trying to push more into narrative. That's the dream. I want to do a lot more narrative and more features and stuff. But commercials right now are a cool place a cool space to play in. But I'll get onto set. I'll try to do a little walk through myself, go through the shot list, just kind of imagine myself in the space, and then just make sure everything's running like clockwork. I'll check in with my camera department, check in with lighting, just make sure everyone kind of knows how the day is going to be. And then the sooner the better I find my director. It's always a good day, because if I can find them sooner, her or him, or we can just kind of get into the kind of same like headspace, and then I can talk with them.
Okay, cool. No, I just wanted to see your methodology and what you do. I mean, I've had some guys that I've been chatting to that literally they'll go there like hours before, they'll sit there, they'll actually walk through what they're going to be shooting, how they're going to be shooting, where they're going to do it with no one there, and then they get into it. So it's just I love just to hear the behind.
We have a lot of prep. So Steve, we have a lot of prep before a commercial. We'll normally rec you a few days before. We'll have a storyboard if we're fortunate, or we'll have a shot list. So there's a lot of prep that goes into it beforehand. And I love pre-production. I find that's where I can be my strongest. I can really plan for a shot, or we can talk about the psychology of why we're doing wide angles and no close-ups, or whatever we decide to do.
So you actually talk about that. Zolani is here. I love it. I know Rick's secret sauce. It's making his potato. Who's Zolani?
I wonder who this is. This is amazing.
I so want to see. So you don't know him, or his handle? Okay, cool.
Amazing.
Tell me how important is it on a set, especially when you're shooting obviously a longer film, to be able to keep that energy alive with regards to the team that you're working with? Are you the type that keeps them, I know there's various different roles and characters with regards to when you're on the film set or you're on set, but I mean, when you're going to 3 days, 4 days, months, 2 months, what's the longest set you worked on? What's the longest film? Or
I have a system on like 2 month shoots or 5 week shoots, and you're having 6 day weeks. It gets tiring out there. Those shoots it's tough in South Africa. The way our features work and our longer form stuff works, it's difficult. So we're doing 6 day weeks, but I love it because you become a team, you become a family. But it is definitely you become a bit of a zombie because you're just kind of just repeating every day and just doing the best you can every day.
100%. Okay, so let's move on from that one. I want to just check.
Sorry, that sounded so negative. I don't mean it in a negative way. It's just
no. But
filmmaking is not for the faint of heart. It's like, it's a difficult job. We worked, I mean, this week I was, not today was easy, but like on Tuesday I was on set for 14 hours. We literally got home just before the lockdown kicked back in again at 9 o'clock. So the days are long and the work is hard. It's not all glamour. Like we work hard and the crews work hard, and I expect a lot from people because I expect a lot from myself.
That's what I like to hear. And this is what the show's about, and this is what I'm trying to get is that, everyone thinks that, you're shooting a movie. Oh, that's amazing. And you're involved with HBO and Netflix, blah, blah, blah. And they don't realize that you're actually sitting there going, Jesus, working 14-hour days, or not, you're going even 24 hours, no sleep, there was a delay, or there was, something like that it is hard. It's not an easy job. It's not. How's it on set? Have you ever had screaming, shouting, swearing?
I've seen, when I was younger, I don't really like that on my set, and I won't work with people like that. I mean, I can't control people above me. I can't control producers or directors, but I try to stay away from people. Even on a subconscious level, I find in real life, I stay away from egos and I stay away from people like that. But I have had sets where people have threatened to punch each other, or people have lost their tempers with each other. It happens. We're all human, and it does happen. And sometimes it can be funny because you can all laugh about it like a family afterwards, but sometimes it can get really bad. And there's been moments where people have said things that are not right, and you have to call them. You have to stub it right as it happens. If someone says something super racist or super homophobic or anything, or sexist, you have to stop that stuff on set straight away. And I find that's also my responsibility as a head of department. I need to say, guys, I don't want that, or I don't want that's being said around me, or don't say that. I don't want to hear you say that. I won't work with people like that, basically.
I respect you so much for that. That's the thing. A lot of the time people keep quiet, or they let these mongers that go around. I don't know what to give them a name, but they just it just makes the set unpleasant for everyone, and they somehow get away with it. But no, I definitely put them in their place with that. Tell me also, okay, so getting on to the shooting with regards to, I mean, your short film there, The Stranger. How, like, let's say if you had to choose, let's put it this way. If you had to choose 5 items to shoot a pilot, what 5 items would you have?
So am I talking about pieces of equipment, or what am I talking about? Pieces of gear, or what items? What do you mean by items?
You need 5. You got 5 things to put together a pilot for Netflix. What would you get? What 5 things would you use?
I mean, I'm just going to say science fiction stuff and just say spaceship stuff, because I'm just going to say I want to do more sci-fi in life. So I'm going to end up saying a spaceship or a cockpit. I'm going to say like lasers. I'm going to say, if those are the items I need to talk about.
But you have to talk about, remember your camera. Remember, you have to include your camera, your lighting. If you want, 5
I mean,
things
if we're talking about gear, then always anamorphics. Lenses are the most important thing as well. I love sexy old glass. I love vintage lenses. So if I had to choose, I would probably go old anamorphics. cameras, I think, is a point of discussion. I don't think cameras are as important as people think it is. I think resolution is also overplayed a lot lately. Everyone's trying to shoot 6K and 8K, and I find we don't need that right now. So I would go for an old camera. I don't really mind, an Alexa Classic or something easy.
Cool.
Lighting is super important, so I'm definitely going to say lighting, and then how you move the camera. So before you know it, I'm going to end up saying I need more than 5 things. I'm going to need a lot of stuff before.
Okay, so you got obviously lenses, camera. We mentioned lighting. You said one light that you'd have.
I love LED. I mean, there's lots of ways, Steve. I don't know. That's such an open-ended question because tungsten lighting. I love tungsten lighting. Hard light is such a beautiful source and beautiful quality of lighting. I love LED technology, what it's done, and like how we were speaking to Luke earlier. I own a set of Pavo tubes. I'm actually lighting myself with one now as well. So also using one. Yeah. So and like what Luke said. So sorry, just make sure I don't drop it. LED technology has really changed the game a lot, and I think I'm a big fan of LED and the apps that are coming out for them as well. And then I also enjoy HMI, so I could talk about lighting forever. I mean, there's just different types of lighting. It's about choosing the right kind of lighting for the right kind of job.
100%. Now, why I'm asking is there's a lot of indie filmmakers out there that I know there's photographers that are looking at going into shooting film, that kind of thing. They're wanting to shoot movies and they're wanting to shoot film, and they're going, okay, what do we do? How do we do it? And so that's pretty much where the question came from.
I get that. I guess so, Steve. That's a better way that I can answer that question a bit better. I think the people always ask, "What's the best camera? What's the best lenses?" Just use the camera you have access to. That's what we used to do. We used to shoot on like borrowed cameras or borrowed gear, or shoot on a little Sony or a 5D. I'm of the 5D generation. The Canon 5D changed the way I shoot. So I kind of like I embraced that, and then I kind of grew to the next camera, and then grew to the next camera, and then grew to the next camera. I like that list. It's a.
Here we go. 3 redheads, 1 blonde, 5 polyboards. Okay, so carry on. So shoot with what you have.
Shoot. I just think shoot with what you have. I think don't make such a fuss about gear, because still focus on your lighting and focus on your composition and focus on those rules. And then a camera is not going to. Obviously, a good camera will make things look better, but a camera is not going to make your story better. It's not going to make your lighting better. There's things that a camera will only add to, but it can't. It's not going to change the game. It's not going to completely overhaul everything. So use what you have access to.
100%. Now tell me, post-production, how important is music score and obviously color grading for you?
Music. Okay, so I'll have 2 answers for that. So I'm currently learning DaVinci Resolve right now. I'm trying it during lockdown when I wasn't shooting. I was trying to learn how to grade, because I've always wanted to actually grade my own footage. Not that I want to be a colorist, but it's really cool to understand color science and know what's available. And then music. I think I'll probably have to pay for this later for making this comment, but sound is very important. Sound is probably more important than visuals in many ways, because the example I'll use, if you've ever been in a cinema and if the picture's kind of flickering or the picture's kind of washed out or whatever, you kind of forgive it. You can sit and watch a whole movie. Have you ever been in a cinema where the sound stops working or the sound actually cuts out? You can't actually engage with the film. So sound is half the battle, and sadly 50% of it is really sound. Music can do a lot to the soul.
No, absolutely. I'm just busy checking here. Okay, so with regards to, and the reason why I've asked that, I mean, we often, and I've seen sets and I've been on sets and I've checked it out, and whether you're shooting a wedding, whether you're shooting whatever it may be, and the guys don't place enough emphasis on sound. I see them saying, I'll just use onboard the camera sound, and I'm going, guys, please. And those poor sound engineers always get a raw deal somehow. They're always the ones that just then go, and we need them. That's the bottom line. And I love your work with regards to that. All right, so some advice before we close up. Advice for cinematographers, up and budding indie indie filmmakers. What are the things they should be focusing on getting into the industry? And once in the industry, what should they keep on doing?
I think for me, if I had to speak to myself as a youngster, you'll never stop learning. So that's something I've realized, is I'll never stop learning as a cinematographer. I'll learn until I die. I'll be in my 80s or 90s, hopefully. Like I look up to guys like Roger Deakins and those guys, and they're super like in their 70s, and they're still shooting now, and they're still learning, and they're just getting better and better. So I think there's so much information, and there's a wealth of knowledge out there on the internet, on YouTube, and in podcasts and shows like this. I think there's a lot of information out there. So don't stop ever learning. You'll never know everything. and embrace new technology. That's something I still have to force myself to do. I had to get into the habit of shooting 9x16 recently for a commercial. We had to shoot portrait mode, which I've never, I mean, it's happened once or twice, but a whole commercial in portrait mode is quite weird for video, because video has always been this for me, a 16:9.
Yeah.
And then I think like, don't rush, like enjoy the journey. And that's something I have to remind myself about even right now is when you're in a good space, just enjoy the space and take a bit of a step back and just say, it's cool. There's always going to be, there's still the future. You can't really control that, but you can control the now.
I just love that advice. Absolutely love that advice. Talking about, shooting in portrait mode, have you seen that app there? It's called Firework.
No, I haven't.
I don't know if you've seen it. You have to go and look at Firework. So it's an Instagram. It's like an Instagram, what's it called? Replica, if I can put it that way. But what's so insane is you can literally, you'll be looking at portraits, and as you turn it into landscape, it literally turns, it doesn't actually turn the actual footage. It almost looks three-dimensional. I don't know. Go and have a look at Firework app. Just go and have a look, and then if you do get an account, make sure to add me. But you'll love it.
I'll check it out.
This other thing, video, and it's just insane. Rich, that was on here, is on it as well, and he's absolutely loving. Okay, cool. Let's see. Two truths. Never stop learning from Rich. Rich photography. Stay humble. Absolutely. Follow Rick's footsteps. Shut up. Listen, learn about it. Yeah. Drive a keen eye to the craft. This man knows. The man knows. Absolutely. And it's so nice seeing someone that's humble, that's doing so well. That's why obviously your reputation precedes you. And Esley was one of the guys that also chatted to me about you a while back when we were doing the photo and video experience. And your reputation's really out there as a great guy, good person, and making waves. So it's an honor to have you on the show. Thank you so much for joining.
Thank you for that, Steve. Thank you for the kind words. I appreciate that.
Keep making the magic happen. That's all I can say to you, and we're definitely going to have you back on. But before you go, it's just something little that I do at the end of each show, because I just want to see what your new show name is. So I want you to tell me one word that describes yourself.
Sheesh.
So let me give you one word that describes yourself, one color, and one animal.
That's amazing. I think I'm kind of told that I'm quite hyper, so I talk quite fast, and I think I have ADD, or I have a slight version of ADHD. So I'd say hyper, and then
hyper.
I love
color?
Foxes, so I love the foxes, and then green. I love the color green.
So Hyper Green Fox is your new stage name, by the way. So
that's amazing. I love it. That actually sounds like a cool code name.
And I love your green bottle just to match that.
Yeah, exactly. I'm sorted.
Rick, man, thank you so much. I'm just going to quickly pop your website onto the screen here, just so everyone can have a look. Where can they get hold of you? Just give them some of your handles and where you are, just so those of you that are watching can go and have a look.
Cool. So I'm quite active on Instagram. My handle's at RickJoaquim. So it's at Rick Joaquim. And then I have a website. It's also rickjoaquim.com. And I post a little bit of work there, and I try. Is it up? There we go. Yeah, thank you. Thanks for that, Steve. Yeah, so cool. There, and then there's a link to my Instagram if you need to go as well. I think you just go. There's a link somewhere
at the bottom,
there, But thank you for that. Yeah, so thanks, guys. I mean, I'm quite active there. Yes, and my Vimeo as well. So I try to be quite active on Instagram. I try to reply to comments. I try to, I don't know. I just enjoy it. I love the platform. It's an amazing place for visual creators like us, like ourselves.
Can I quickly ask, Vimeo over YouTube, what was the deal there?
It's a good question. The only reason I actually prefer Vimeo is just I can replace links. So I can always replace all my videos. So for example, The Stranger, there's like 3 or 4 drafts of it. And every time it gets tweaked or changed, I can just replace the video and then keep the link. So it's a feature I wish YouTube would bring one day. I also like how clean Vimeo is. There's a lot of content on YouTube, and I find a lot of references. I like living on Vimeo. I can control it a bit. So Vimeo has just always been a place for me, a safe place. But I have heard sad rumors about it slowly dying, and I am a bit worried about that. So hope it sticks around for a bit.
No, absolutely. Okay, there we go. Big fans of you.
Thank you for the kind words. Thanks, Ronnie. Thank you for that.
Okay, cool. All right, no, thank you so much. Rick, have a great one. All the best. Thank you so much for chatting with me and taking the time out. I know you've got a busy day. Keep up the great work. Keep inspiring people. You don't know who you're inspiring, but you're inspiring plenty people. with what you're doing. So thank you so much.
Thank you for that, Steve. Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
Have a great evening. Rick, all the best. Cheers, my brother.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers. Bye. All right, ladies and gents, that there was our creator for the Creator Corner, Rick Joaquim. He is phenomenal. Absolutely, you can see super humble, such a great guy. I mean, I absolutely love chatting to him. Seeing, I mean, he's making phenomenal waves, and you can just see, I mean, he's got his work on Netflix, HBO, One Org, you name it, his work is there, and he's amongst the top in the country, and if not the world, and just so humble. And you can see it there. It's not about being arrogant. It's not arrogance out there that people want to work with. Confidence is a different thing. People that know their job and know what they're doing. So if you're an actor, actress that's out there, or even obviously looking to become crew, people look at your attitude towards how you do things, how you react to things when you are on set. So make sure you are in check whenever you do things. You'll see also he leads by example by going out there and being the person that is there on set before and staying there late, always giving credit to, the crew and, the rest of the people that are on set. That's very important. You never know, crew makes things happen. Your friends, and they become your family, and that's who is going to drive you to the next level. And those are the people that are going to help you when times get tough to make it get through. So super guest, there we go. A new fan there, Auntie Tinks. Marley as well, there we go, mentioning some things out there. Thank you, Marley, for always joining in and being part of the show. It's really important for me, those of you that are out there, to come and subscribe to this YouTube channel. I know I've pushed it across my Facebook platforms as well as Twitter, but if you do want to find out more or get some insights, I'm posting all those insights and everything, links to Rick's site, obviously to Nanlite, to some of their products, and all the guests that I have on my show is normally underneath the YouTube side of things. So make sure you go and subscribe to YouTube, click that notification bell. That's where we're at right now. But I hope you guys enjoyed this evening's show. Sorry about the glitch a little bit earlier. It wasn't intentional. It's just one of those things that does happen. Next week, we are going to be chatting to the guys from MSI. Those of you that know about MSI, a lot of you gamers out there are going, what? MSI? Yeah, they got a creator range of laptops as well as desktops. The reason why I'm having them on here is because obviously that is part of what we do. It's a creators, it's in our gear, we have to have it. So we shoot with our cameras and then we bring it onto our obviously computers, and that's why I definitely got them on. So MSI is going to be on next week. We've got a head of marketing that's going to be joining us, as well as another creator, which I'm going to keep a secret because he's quite a catch to get onto the show. Then other than that, if you have any more questions, you want to connect, make sure you connect with us on the show. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you for joining me. Until next week, stay safe, stay creative, stay positive. Keep that passion driving forward. And that's it from me, Steven Siegel, and Through the Lens. All the best.